Hi everyone, today I'm going to be chatting about gut health, and I'm going to be doing this over the next 3 days because I personally think there's 3 different components to gut health and I'd like to break it up. The first is making fermented foods your best friend. Secondly is your day-to-day diet choices, and thirdly is your lifestyle choices, as in things that can create stress and anxiety and etc. But firstly, we'll go back with the fermented foods. Now, for me, there's just a few simple things that I can do on a day-to-day basis that make the world of difference to my health, as in skin health, hormonal health. When I get up in the morning, the first thing I like to do for hubby and I is squeeze half a lemon into warm water. It's simple but effective. I think it's a great cleanser for the liver and it just gets you started. If you're a coffee person first thing in the morning, that's fine. I'm not asking you to stop that, but maybe you could do the lemon water first, wait 15-20 minutes and then enjoy your coffee. The next thing I like to do is incorporate apple cider vinegar. This is the best brand that you can get. I recommend a teaspoon 3 times a day. You can have it before your meal, you can have it after your meal. I prefer to have it with my food as it just works better for me that way. I add a teaspoon into my whole juice in the morning. I add a teaspoon into my lunch smoothie, and then I add a teaspoon into my magnesium that I have just before I go to bed. Another great thing I like to add into my day-to-day diet is kefir. I just simply add 50 to 60 mils into my lunchtime smoothie. If you're not eating food like that, that's fine. It can be added into a fruit juice, it can be added into a smoothie, or you could simply just put it into a glass and sip it. My last favourite thing is fermented vegetables. You can also make them yourself, but I've just been a bit lazy and been buying mine. But it's simple, just put it on to your dinner plate overnight time. For me, I just find that these few simple things on a day-to-day basis are absolutely great. Another thing that I do love that I mentioned yesterday is my kombucha, which I will shortly go step by step and show you how I make that. So today my kombucha is ready to be bottled. What I've done is I've removed the SCOBY. This is what eats up all of the sugar from the tea and gets bigger and bigger and bigger, which is a good thing because then when you grow a lot of it, you can start to cut little circles off and you can gift it to other people who would like to start making their own kombucha. So we've removed the SCOBY. We strain the liquid. As you can see, I've already done a few bottles just to make the process slightly quicker. You always have to leave a little amount of the fermented kombucha into this jug because when you add the new tea, it needs something to feed off. So we'll bottle this up. Now this is only the first fermentation process. And what I mean by that is you have your sweet tea, which you can see, as I mentioned before, has been brewed. Now that will get put back into the jug with the SCOBY. You have to make sure that the tea is at room temperature and is not at all hot, otherwise it will kill your SCOBY. Is because I like to second ferment mine. So I will add my fruit of choice into it, which today I think I will do blueberries. And then once I've done this and I've added my blueberries, it goes into an esky. The reason why I place it into an esky is because I can secure it with the lid, because this will carbonate over time, around 7 to 10 days. And you either place it into a cupboard but run the risk of it maybe exploding because it's carbonating, or put it into an esky where there's a lid on it, and if something does sort of pop off, it's no big deal. Okay. The reason for having a plastic bottle is so you can tell when it is actually done with fermenting, because as you can see, that's plastic. Now the more carbonated it gets is the harder and harder and harder it will go, so that is a very good sign for you to know, okay, it's ready and I can pop it in the fridge, chill it, and it's ready to drink. See, I've popped in some blueberries into the bottles. There's 2 main purposes to add fruit, and you can add any fruit, it just comes down to personal preference. The first reason being is it adds flavour into your kombucha, and the second thing is that that's what the kombucha feeds off on the second ferment to become fizzy, carbonated. So these are now ready to go into the esky, and because it's been quite hot here in Perth, this will second ferment quite quickly, so around 7 days. Now what we need to do is take you way back to the beginning and show you how you can actually create it to get to this stage. I've used some of my old kombucha which I just bottled then. What you can do is buy a store-bought kombucha, place that in with your SCOBY that you've been gifted, and you add your tea mix. Now I prefer green tea or black tea. There's a lot of controversy as to whether you should use flavoured teas or not, because flavoured teas can contain oil and then they can kill off your SCOBY, but it's whatever works for you. So to get to this stage, it's 16 cups of boiling water with 3/4 of a cup of sugar, and I've placed 16 teaspoons of loose leaf tea into a stocking. This is the best way to do it because it's neat, it's tidy, you squeeze out the excess and you're done. Now the next process is I always place this into the sink because I'm actually quite messy. I get the tea, and there we go. Now it does sound like a lot of sugar, but the thing is that it does need the sugar for the SCOBY to grow and to ferment it. Okay. You then have to secure it with a piece of chucks and a lucky band like I mentioned yesterday, so no nasties can get into it. I place it back on my stand, and then within 7 to 10 days that's going to be ready to do what I just showed you to do with the bottles then. This is the best spot for me to place my bottles because it's low traffic and nobody apart from me really goes behind the laundry door. So I put them all in, place the lid on the esky. Depending on how hot it is, you can just check it every few days. And there you go. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed that and you find it useful. If there's any questions, please just comment or flick me a message or email. That's great. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.